Hello everybody, it's the 7th of June and it's the daily check-in or hello or just me. Cheers. Well folks, to get started, as we all know, the clock continues to tick, and so every day we lose someone and every day someone is born. In the world of music and entertainment and all that stuff, yesterday two people, after I made my video, found out about their passing. First one being Astrud Gilberto. She did Girl from Ipanema. The guy that does rock history music in Canada, I liked his live stream about her passing yesterday because he brought up he is very self-referential, but it makes sense, you know, with regard to his career in radio, how he brings things up when he interviews people or talks about things. But I'm glad that he mentioned the passing of Astrud Gilberto and shared the story that, now I don't have any albums specifically by her. The Stan Getz album that's really famous, I don't have it, I don't want it. You know, it's like kind of like Herb Alpert's Whipped Cream album. I used to have a copy of that and I got rid of it. I've had it a couple times. I don't need it. It's ubiquitous. Something I do have that Astrud Gilberto is on is the Red Hot and Rio, a series where artists got together, and was this some kind of either fundraiser or awareness raiser? I forget the purpose. The reason why I bought this primarily was the involvement of my people. Now, unless I got it wrong here, Sakamoto's on here somewhere. But yes, there he is. I knew it. That's what got me to buy it in the first place. But besides Sakamoto and bands like well, people like Cesaria Evoria and Caetano Veloso and Marissa Monte, of course these folks run here. But there's a Desafinado. There's a version on here by Astrud Gilberto and George Michael. Now, I'll be honest with you, I've never listened to it. Or I can't remember hearing it. I probably listened to it in listening to this. But I have that. I'll listen to that today. And then this was sent to me. I think someone who kind of had a falling out with the way that I talk. I'm just being me, but he would send me stuff, you know. Brazil. Some of the stuff that he would send, it was like, I just like, you know, it doesn't resonate. And I would say so. And but this does. Brazil. So 3-disc, what it's called is an essential guide to Brazil. And so, of course, Astrud Gilberto is on here with Agua de Beber. And I ought to play that today. So, she was in her 80s, and that's the thing I reflect on, is the fact that, you know, I'm 67 going on 68 next month. And as a kid, you know, really starting to focus on music and the artists back then in the 60s and 70s, who made the music was important. Much less like today, where there is so much and everyone is doing it, that it's like, it's 5 seconds of fame and you're out of here. But back then, these people, their importance, it would kind of set in. So again, slightly lost my train of thought. Rest in peace. How are y'all doing today? How's my tinnitus today? It's a little more aggravated than yesterday, which I just have to realize that it's going to be like this. It's going to be like waves. It's a little louder this morning. Hopefully it goes down. Hopefully. And if it doesn't, I just have to live with it. The other person that I found out passed away recently, if not yesterday, but the news got to me, was T.S. Tony McPhee, guitarist who does figure in. I talk about the folks that mean something to me personally. I could talk about so and so died, but it's like I don't want to just. I want to talk about what's important to me. So yes, the Groundhogs are an important band to me. Hogwash, and this is my first album owned by them. My introduction to the band Groundhogs was in high school, in that circle of friends where I mentioned recently Everett. If you see this, Everett, we got those free albums from KOWH. Remember that? And each one of us got records that I wanted them all. Doug Corbin got Split by Groundhogs. That was my introduction. I still don't own that on vinyl. I love it, and it's like it really intrigued me when I first heard it. So, but I ended up getting this album, Hogwash, which I really like. And there's Clyde Brooks, who was the drummer in the band Egg. And you know, I've talked a lot about the Canterbury bands and Egg. I love how this album cover folds out too. It's a good album. T.S. McPhee made an impression on me himself as a musician. I like his growly, gravelly voice. I like that. It fits the name of the band, funnily enough. The sound of his voice fits the name Groundhogs. Yeah, he sounds like he looks. And his guitar work, notable. He is a good player, has his own style. He does not sound like anyone else, but he's blues based. Now that's what I liked about Groundhogs, is they're blues based, but they went somewhere else with it. And so not long ago I picked up a couple of three more of their albums. These I picked up in the last couple of years. This is a reissue on Fire Records of their album Blues Obituary, and it is appropriately titled because, as they say, you know, this is us starting from the base of the blues and going somewhere else with it. Blue vinyl. So even since I've had this album, I haven't played it that much, but I played it enough to know that, yeah, this was already potent stuff already on the Blues Obituary album. Oh well, I'll get it. And then I got this one. I really like this one. Thank Christ for the Bomb. Again, this is a reissue. Nice one too. Yeah. I kind of think, in my opinion, they deserve a higher profile in the history of particularly British rock music than they have, to my perception. I think they're an important band. I think of bands like Humble Pie when I think of this band. Just off the top of my head. Others, but they're not coming to mind. Groundhogs, important to me. And then the last thing I found by them was this original. And I was real happy to find this original copy of Who Will Save the World, with the iconic comic book cover. The artist who did it is a well-known name when it comes to comic books. This is another one out of the Rhoda collection that Homer's bought. And I bought several of Rhoda's records. She's probably passed away, but Rhoda had the shit. She had the stuff. She had the dope jams in her collection. So I was glad to pick this up. And like I said, it's an original. This is a very good album. Very good. Very, very, very good. I'll do a little follow-up on the personal stuff here in a minute, but a little bit more music. Yesterday, it's been a long time that I had a session with Alan Holdsworth. I love his playing, but because my interests are pretty wide and varied, I'll go through long periods where I don't listen to people or hear people that I really love. So I decided myself particularly to watch the DVDs of these. I think Anthony Ferraro sent me this one or the other one that I'm about to show. Frankfurt 86 with Gary Husband and Jimmy Johnson and Keiko Akai. Again, this is tasty. The least interesting part of this is when he plays the syntax. Now, when I met Alan Holdsworth, if I remember correctly, he offered me a chance to, he let me play his guitar, his Fender, or whatever it was that's like a Fender, but he also offered to let me touch the syntax, and I declined because I said I don't want to mess up anything before the show. By accident, just happened to have an accident. I've had that happen, haven't you all? Situations where it's like, oh shit. So I didn't touch the syntax, but that's the least interesting part. I love his guitar playing. And then this one, Warsaw Summer Jazz Days 98. There was only one Alan Holdsworth, and when he played, he really pushed himself. Was always, he had a deep bag of technique to draw from, but he didn't just rely on it. It was a platform. That's what I like about, or rather I love about Alan Holdsworth playing. Rest in peace. That he was also always searching, always pushing it. So it had been a while. Paul, you popped in my mind because you sound like him. A little more about on the music. Well, that's the main thing that brought y'all here in the first place, was music. So, Brooklyn Vegan is one of the blog spots, music blogs that I follow every day, as well as Revolver and Pitchfork. I check in on Spin. Wire Magazine is not as, those other ones they have stuff daily. I look at Rolling Stone, but I won't subscribe, so I just look at their headlines and then I move on. But yesterday, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard posted a new video. I always check out new videos, even stuff that I'm not interested in. When there's a new music video, I watch it because I want to see what's going on. There's just a lot of garbage. But King Gizzard, their new video for the song Dragon, I really enjoyed it. And I have two of their records. I would never endeavor to collect these guys because they make too many records, but I like them. And what I noticed in watching the video for Dragon was observing the personalities of the guys in the video and how I would probably really enjoy meeting them and working with them. They're music nerds. They're just into it. They use the microtones and all sorts of other stuff. I think someone sent this to me. This is the Polygondwana Land album. If I got it right, there are several versions of this out where they asked the fans, did I get that right? They asked people who follow the band to have this pressed up or to present different designs of the band, I think. So I pulled this, didn't play it yet, but it was like, so I watched the Dragon and then I went and pulled up some more King Gizzard videos, and they have a couple different sounds that they do. Everything isn't the same. I like it all, as it turns out. The more kind of a noodly electronic thing they do, which of course I love, as opposed to the almost heavy rock sound they have. I like it all. And then this one I picked up, Infest the Rat's Nest. And yeah, I like this. These guys, they appear to be a bunch of jokers, people who have fun. And let me see, is this on red vinyl? No, it's not. Oh, that's right. It's split vinyl, red and black. So didn't play these yesterday, but after watching the videos and really enjoying them, I said to myself, well, let me pull those records that I have and soon give them another spin. Geez, this has a whole big poster in it. Okay. All right. King Gizzard. I was like, yeah, these guys are good. I like this. Okay. So much music, so much content in the world in general that it's like here today, gone today. There's just so much content to absorb, and it's easy to just end up in one particular lane where all you do, okay, do that later, Dereck. All you do is see and hear a particular type of thing. That's easy to happen these days, you know. I try to look at as much of what's going on that I possibly can. With that said, I want to remind you, or tell you if you didn't know, that my latest album, The Muse with Blake and Cubby, is literally on the cusp, on the verge of selling out completely. I'm hearing back from folks in Europe who have received their copies through the Berlin distributor, so it was successful. The connection through Martin Archer and Discus Music to sell some discs at a lower postage rate in Europe worked. Even better than that, the folks who got the CDs are telling me how much they love the music. And this truly is, if you folks don't have it yet, you'll be surprised. I made this music, number one, for me, as a deep listener. It has to sound good. And when you play this on your system, if you got a good system, you're going to really enjoy it because it hums. By that I mean it's sonically very satisfying and beautifully recorded and many layers to absorb. The Muse, yeah, I'm pushing my own product because it's almost gone. And when these last are done, I'm not printing up anymore. So far, no one is getting back to me regarding doing a vinyl release. I'm kind of surprised because it'll sell. Whoever would make the investment, you know, you'll get your money back plus. So anyway, you ought to get a copy of it. You really ought to. One more music thing. Yesterday was the release anniversary of Soft Machine 3rd. I have 3 copies on vinyl. Still have my original copy from high school. I've shown it many times over the years in videos. It was a game changer, life changer for me. Out Bloody Rages, Moon in June, Slightly All the Time. What's cool is that when I first heard the track from 3rd on the Different Strokes sampler, because I could afford that, it was like only like maybe 90 cents, brand new, you know, sampler from Columbia Records. And I had already been turned on to Terry Riley through my older brother, James, bless him. So when I heard Out Bloody Rages, the first part, I recognized that Terry Riley thing right away, and I was hooked. And then when they come in with the whole band, dun, 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 it's iconic. It's not the best recorded album by any means, but it is a masterpiece regarding setting a template in many ways for so many artists to work from and to be inspired from. So Soft Machine 3rd is worth mentioning. So one more thing regarding my past. I could tell many more stories, and there's many stories that you don't need to hear, you know. But let's try to complete this picture regarding what I had shared regarding some of my ordeals as a kid. So I told you the story about the musician where I had PTSD had, like, you know, it's like, I guess probably as a kid, I what do they say? It's a term I used to use in psych all the time, where you leave the body. It's like, you know, you dissociate. I dissociated. It's like, it was like what was going on was too much for me, so I left my body. I left my consciousness. Okay. And when the shock of it coming back to me in that moment of seeing the person as an adult, you know, part of the reason why I was able to get through that as well as I did, because you know, I've worked with so many people who carry to their grave these guilt feelings and these horrible, they're just, it's like they are shut down because of these events and never processing them, getting any relief from them. Okay, so the other part of this that's important for you to know is that besides my job and what I learned on the job and through experience, that gave me the strength and the knowledge to know to forgive this man when I encountered him again as an adult. I had already done the work that led up to that, which is dealing with my dad. Okay? So, my dad was a traveling musician when I was a little boy, and I'm the middle of 5 kids. I'm the darkest. My dad had red hair, very light skin. I have a picture here, but I'm not going to grab it because I could show you, but I'm not going to bother because I'd have to undo some stuff. But he was much lighter than me, and when he was a young man, he could pass for white. Do you folks remember when my cousin Leroy was here visiting? The older man, 84-year-old. He told me the story of when he first met my dad, when he was just a kid, and my dad was still just dating my mom. He thought my dad was white and was ready to beat him up. Thought this white man was messing with my mom, his aunt. So my dad's upbringing was intense, and in Chicago probably pretty crazy. His mom was involved with a well-established brothel. She wasn't one of the girls. She ran the place. Okay, so this is where he also, besides being into music as a student, was meeting and running into all these legendary jazz musicians through the whorehouse. Okay, I'm setting this up, folks. Okay, that I understand my dad's own conflicted upbringing, which led to him being a bit of a mess as a young man, you know. And so early on in my 20s, right about the time we were doing the family band, the family jazz band, after my dad came back from leaving us. It's a long story. I'll just tell this much. But I was contemplating leaving the band at this time. We had been together for, I think, a couple of years. And it was obvious to me that I wasn't going to be fulfilled doing my dad's vision of the band, which was a jazz Jackson 5. And we were just playing a lot of music that I didn't really want to play, but it was good to learn how to play it. Anyway, I remember this day very clearly. It was at my house. We were having rehearsal at my house where I lived at the time, and I just got up the nerve to say to my dad, "You know, Dad, I just want you to know that I forgive you." And he freaked out. He wasn't expecting that. You know, it was a lot, you know, I don't know. He just freaked out, you know, and his response was, "No, you don't. You hate me. I know what you want to do. You want to fight me. Let's go outside." I said, no, I'm serious, man. I worked through that mess, you know. I forgive you. You're my dad. I love you. And I'll tell this part. You know, I reached out to him to try to say, I love you. You know, let me hug you, Dad. I do. I really do. Of course, almost like in a movie, he pushed me away, couldn't look me in the face, had to go outside to get his head together, you know, and, you know, I said, I don't want to fight you. I told you. I forgive you. Blew his mind. So I had done that work, okay? Because that's like on the forefront of where things come from. It's your parents, you know. And in the majority of situations where there's abuse and manipulation involving kids, it's not strangers. It's very seldom it's strangers. It's people that are associated, family members, friends, people in the neighborhood. So I wanted to share that part because it's important, you know, to know the trail of trajectory as to where I could say to that abuser to his face as an adult, I forgive you. You have no power over me. I'm sharing this because I even know still to this day people in my personal life that I work with musically who are still, their demons won't let them go, and they don't seem to know how to, or are afraid to do the work to move through the memories, the traumatic flashbacks and stuff that can happen. Doesn't have to be that way. It's hard work, but you're worth it. So I wanted to share that. And look at, I'm just making these long ass videos, but it seems like these are important things to share. I enjoy your feedback and you giving me blowback on this information besides the music. So continue to share, folks, okay?